So a little bit about me real fast. My name is Taylor Desseyn. I hail from beautiful Music City, Nashville. There's still people coming in. No back row sitting. No back row sitting. Call you out now. Come on. Come on. This is a conversation. Listen, this is the last session, aside from obviously the last talk. This is the last session of the conference. We're going to get friendly here. The whole point of this talk is networking. And so I want you to sit next to people. I want you to have conversations with people. And I'm going to do something real quick before I give an introduction. I grew up Southern Baptist. And so if you go to Southern Baptist Church, they do something that terrifies me, but I'm going to force y'all to do it right now. I want everyone to stand up real quick, and basically I want you to introduce yourself to the person to the left and right. And I also want you to do this. Let me finish. All right, you didn't let me finish. I want you to connect with them on LinkedIn right now. So get your phone out, ask the person next to you for their LinkedIn, their Twitter. If you're not on LinkedIn and Twitter, that's fine, but I want you to connect with somebody. All right, sweet. Y'all go sit down because I gotta start talking. I'll make sure if you didn't get people's names, I'll make sure this happens when we finish up. But essentially, I would argue that you probably got more value already out of this talk than most recruiter talks that you ever go to. Because today's whole entire conversation is around networking, both in person and virtually. And so for that being said, my name is Taylor Desseyn. I hail from Nashville, Tennessee. I've been recruiting now going on 11 years. For those of you who do not realize, recruiting years are like dog years. It exponentially ages you. And so I'm actually 120 years old. I just have a great skincare routine. And so we are going to dive in today on actually how to use LinkedIn, how to use Twitter to find your dream job. So I became fascinated when COVID hit in March of 2020, how people network, because traditionally pre-COVID, what did networking look like? You typically would go to a meetup in your town. The recruiter company that would sponsor it would provide shitty pizza. You are probably mildly gluten intolerant and you ate it because there's nothing else to eat. You watched a presentation for 45 slides of Docker. You sat with the one person you came with, and then you left with no more knowledge of Docker and a stomachache. Shh, you're giving my secret away. That being said, so that's networking pre-COVID, right? We're going to go to conferences. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Before the exercise today, just now, who actually has gotten somebody else's contact information and connect with them on LinkedIn at this conference? Okay, a fair amount of y'all, I guess, kind of. So the importance of it is a lot of people go through the motions at these things, and it's very difficult. Networking is extremely difficult. I'm an introvert. I had a double thing of iced coffee this morning that is just sailing me through this talk. I typically do decaf, so the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. And so when COVID hit, I was like, man, how do engineers network? My team in Nashville, we are a fully remote engineering team focused on matching top engineering talent with remote first companies across the country. That's what my team does. I lead that. We have a team of 7. I became fascinated on how engineers network with other engineers over the internet during COVID. And so I became fascinated with people's behavior. And this talk is kind of twofold. One, I'm actually going to go over how to build your LinkedIn profile. In my perspective, LinkedIn is the single most important tool for your professional development, period. Now, a lot of people in here are like, yeah, what about Twitter? Listen, I live on Twitter, but this is not a Twitter 101 class. If you go to my podcast, I actually have a session to go over Twitter, but this is going to be going on LinkedIn because Twitter is its own animal. I could talk for an hour just on Twitter, but it's definitely, like I said, it's its own animal, and so I'm going to focus on how to get started networking on LinkedIn today. So if you're really excited about Twitter, this talk isn't about Twitter, it's LinkedIn. Because let's face it, LinkedIn is the tool where you probably set it up in college or early in your career and you haven't touched it since. right? In college, I didn't even know about LinkedIn, right? So and my story is I moved to Nashville to do music like everyone else. I'm a drummer, was a drummer. I did honky tonks. I played at Tequila Cowboy. If anybody went on Broadway and went to Tequila Cowboy, I played there. If you don't remember Tequila Cowboy, I don't blame you. Most people don't remember when they walk in and leave. I also did some stuff on Studio Row and did some touring, and I didn't know how to network. I didn't know how to network. And quite frankly, because I did not know how to network with other musicians, with other drummers, I flamed out really, really quickly. I also grew up in the restaurant industry. My dad is like a 35, 40-year vet in the restaurant industry. I only knew nighttime jobs. I knew 9-to-5s existed, but I didn't know how to break into the 9-to-5 world. And so that's why I'm so passionate about this. And so LinkedIn is the most important platform because it is truly the one searchable platform where all attention is right now. Recruiters, hiring managers, you name it, they are all on LinkedIn. You're probably like, Taylor, but the spam bots, listen, there's spam bots everywhere, right? Let's face it, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, there's spam everywhere. You have to sift through it. I'm gonna talk about how to sift through it today. So let's dive in. Again, so I created like 50 slides and I gave a presentation to a career company out of Tampa this week, and I did a poll and they said don't do slides, do it live. I said you got it. So I ditched the slides, so we're just going to go straight into me actually walking through how to build a LinkedIn. So first off, if you've already zoned out on my talk, please come back to me and write this down. There are 3 underrated parts of a LinkedIn. This has jumped number 3 to number 2. This is the second most underrated part of a LinkedIn, and it's the cover photo banner thingy. I don't know what the technical term is, but cover photo banner thingy is the thing I call it, and we're just going to stick with it. So this is incredibly important. What, Pato? Are you stretching? No. Okay.
Where can we get one of those banners?
Yeah, well, I was going to go over that. Yeah. So all that being said, so let's talk about how to create a banner like this. But first off, I want to talk about why it's so important. So the human eye reads left to right, top to bottom, unless you have a little bit of undiagnosed dyslexia like I do. It gets a little weird sometimes, right? So top to bottom, this is the first thing. When you search Taylor Desseyn in LinkedIn and you click on my profile, this is the thing you're going to see first. Right? A lot of y'all have live, laugh, love. Right, John 3:16, or a picture of mountains or a valley or a lake. None of that shit's gonna help you find a job. Doesn't tell me anything about you whatsoever. And by the way, I curse if you're slightly offended, I'm sorry, but like I said, I grew up Southern Baptist, got a lot of anger issues I've been counseling for. So basically, the banner photo allows the person to be attracted to your profile. It's gotta tell a story, right? There's so much that comes into play when it comes to storytelling in the job search. I'm also gonna probably tie in some dating themes. Right? So if you're single, I'm going to help your dating life, right? Literally, so I spoke at Render ATL. Actually, in my opening line was, this conversation is going to help you get laid and find a dream job. So that being said, I'm going to help you in your dating life. We're going to talk about DMing because my DM game was terrible. I'm glad my wife swiped left or swiped right on me on Tinder and accepted my DM strategy, which is pretty terrible. And I digress. So we're back to this thing. So basically what this does is this draws people in, and you have to tell a story. So I talked with one individual, and basically this one individual was the former Back of the House, did the audio for the Backstreet Boys. Like most recently, like when they went on tour, he did the audio. I was like, dude, you have to put that on your cover banner photo thingy. Because that draws me in, right? I want to talk more to you, right? Again, you want recruiters like myself to talk to you. There's a few other recruiters in here from Vaco, the company I work for. We want to talk to you, but we have to know your story. We need to basically find you interesting because we deal with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of resumes and LinkedIn's a week. So you got to stand out, right? Now, again, if you don't want people to your profile, do not take my advice. The biggest argument I get is like, well, I don't want people to my profile. Then why are you even listening to me? This is literally to help people get to your profile because it's so important in today's world. So this is done in Canva, C-A-N-V-A. It's like Design for Dummies. If anybody works for Canva, let me talk to their marketing department. I legitimately think their tagline needs to be Design for Dummies because I can figure it out, right? It's so freaking simple to use. And what this does, so if you come across my profile, like you know what you're getting. Follow for hiring advice for both the company and candidate that works seriously. You know what you're getting when you follow me. Right now, you're probably like, Taylor, I don't have anything to give. I don't post content. So we're going to dive in to actually how to leverage LinkedIn on the back half of this conversation, right? All that being said, have a place to where you need to be able to tell a little bit about yourself or your previous story, right? If you were a chef, right? If you were a chef, put like former Michelin star chef turned software engineer, right? Former bartender turned recruiter, right? Again, just something to endear yourself to people. We're going to do questions at the end because I've already checked the time and it's already 3:26, and this is a long conversation. All right, so for second off, profile picture. Profile picture is incredibly important. We live in a sea of icons. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Be Real now, which is a thing. We are all on social media for the most part. We all distinguish each other by our profile pictures. Please, no bathroom selfies. Some of y'all got some nasty bathrooms, right? At least clean the mirror if you're going to do a bathroom selfie, right? So I am married to a commercial photographer. This is the only reason why I know this stuff. If you do not have a good headshot, I would either pay for one because it's worth it or take one yourself. Literally go outside in the sunlight, this beautiful Jacksonville weather, do this, take a picture of yourself and post it. Natural light is always the best. The second strategy to differentiate your profile is either have a colorful shirt and a plain background or a plain shirt and a colorful background. Does that make sense? I went floral shirt man with a plain background, right? There are some people out there that take a picture with like graffiti in the background and they have a white shirt on or something like that. The reason for that is because if you take my advice in this talk, and if you do, you will find a job. I give this talk as a one-on-one, people pay me for it, and my success rate is about 75% right now for people who sit down with me. So if you do the things in this talk, you will most likely find a job. Profile picture is huge, right? It's literally your potential employer's first like impression of you, right? If you're like moody and sad and have like a dark profile picture, pass. I'm not hiring you. You look moody, right? It's not an emo 2002 band, right? If you want to see an emo picture, there are pictures of me back in 2000. We won't go there. So again, that's profile picture. I'm going to move on from that. Title portion. If you've already zoned out because of my bad jokes, please come back to me. The title portion is the single most important part of your LinkedIn profile, period. Period. And here's why. When it comes to the title, it's these words right here. These words are the thing that recruiters see when we search for your profile. For example, this is exactly what recruiters do right here. Let's say I need a .NET developer. And by the way, if you have not played with the search filters in LinkedIn, I would get extremely comfortable, right? Let's go to locations. I'm going to type in Jacksonville because we're in Jacksonville. Not really, it's like Neptune Beach.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Shh, hush. All right, 245 people. If I'm a recruiter in Jacksonville and I gotta find a .NET person, I do not have time to sift through and open up every single profile here. I just don't. We don't have time. We have to go so fast because we are working with so many people at one time. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna scroll and look here. Right here. Full stack .NET developer, senior software developer, and senior automation engineer, senior C# developer. Here's the deal. Hiring managers, internal recruiters, agency recruiters. Does everybody know the difference between internal recruiters and agency recruiters? Internal recruiters work at the actual end company. Agency recruiters like myself, we're like hired guns, right? We search for keywords, right? And we also search incredibly narrow to start, right? By the way, my Vaco friends, if I say anything wrong, please correct me. So we search very narrow to start, right? If I need a .NET developer with Azure and Angular, what am I going to search? I am searching Angular and Azure and developer. We go very narrow. So if that's what you do and that is your main skills, you need to put that in your title. Now, if you're a junior developer, I give this talk to National Software School all the time, probably once a month. If you're a junior developer, you got to play around with it a little bit. You can use the word aspiring, you can use the word junior, you can not even use any of that and just include your skills. But at the end of the day, this is your SEO, right? I'm not a marketer. I went to school for marketing. I have no idea about marketing, but I went to school for marketing, but I do know what SEO is, right? And you have to, again, you have to mess with it, tweak it to become more searchable. Any questions on the title portion right here, or is that pretty straightforward? Yes, question. Yeah.
I know LinkedIn, when you like put in your work experience, which is further down, I know you
we'll talk about that.
You
they have keywords that you can put with your work experience. So if .NET was not in your title, but it was somewhere, or like maybe they look C# and it wasn't there, but it was in the things, will it still pull, or no, it was not the title, so it will not?
No. So it'll still pull, right? So all these people have the word .NET in their profile.
Okay.
But the thing is I'm trying to make your profile stand to the top because we don't have time to go through 245 results.
No, I get that. I was
Okay.
just curious.
Yeah, so we search the word .NET, so it will pop up. So all these profiles have the word .NET in their profile in some way, shape, or form.
Okay.
I'm just focusing on top. Yeah.
Like you are saying that if in the title, the word, then the order becomes first one.
Say that again.
If you are looking for .NET,
Yes,
if that is in the title,
it needs to be.
then it will be from top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, basically, I don't know if these search necessarily based off like if .NET goes to the top, but like the second person, Sofani, doesn't have the word .NET developer in the title and it's still at the top of the search. So I don't know how LinkedIn searches that, but again, most recruiters, we just kind of like eyeball it as we go down, and then the profiles that look interesting, we click on it, and then we just move on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yes, if you whatever skill set you are focused on, Java, .NET, JavaScript. But here's the deal with JavaScript, right? If you're a React Node developer, you need to put React Node developer. Right now, you're probably like, Taylor, that's not my title. I understand that. I'm not asking you to change your title, but the thing is again, Control F, we keyword search, recruiters, hiring managers, we want to see specifics. If you just say software engineer, yeah, there's a lot of different technologies, right? Give me specifics. Again, this is a talk to draw more attention to your profile, and this is the way to do it. Does anybody have any questions about the title portion? Because it's incredibly important. No? Sweet. Yes?
What do you think about like maybe you've been a C# developer for a while, and you want to learn some Go language, and you think putting the Go language in the title would be
Sure. Yeah, I mean, again, you play around with it. Like there's no... Yeah, like...
Inspiring Go language.
Yeah. Senior .NET developer targeting Go opportunities, right? Something like that. Like that's totally fine. Because, you know, and then especially if you've had any side Go projects, put it in your experience, but we'll talk about that here in a second. All right, moving on. The featured section. So the cover banner photo thingy jumped the featured section as the second most important. I thought the featured section was the second most important, but I think the cover banner photo thingy is second most. This is the third most underrated part of your LinkedIn profile. This is a way for hiring managers, recruiters like myself, to see your work. Right? A lot of hiring managers these days want to see engineers that are active in the community. Right? Gone are the days of we hire a developer who sits in the corner, doesn't talk to anybody. Right? That's why I always think a code conference is a fascinating thing. But like, long gone are those days, right? Developers want to see what you're tinkering with, right? Or hiring managers want to see what you're tinkering with if you're involved in an organization, if you've had any side projects. So here's where you can pin or link out of LinkedIn, right? Here's the one thing to not put in this is your resume. Do not put your resume here. Probably, Taylor, why is that? Let me tell you. Basically, so let's say I were to come across Todd's LinkedIn, right? I'm like, man, Todd looks actually be a pretty good fit for this role. Todd doesn't have his resume on his LinkedIn. I go, hey, Todd, I slide to Todd's DMs. What's up, dude? You look like a pretty good fit for a role I'm working on. Could you send me your resume? Todd's like, absolutely, I'll send you my resume. Todd sends me his resume, and I go, you know what, Todd? You're actually not a fit. You know, we're looking for whatever, a little bit more. Here's why it's so important, and here's why here's why that interaction is so important. Because now Todd has a conversation history with me. So if I post a role in 3 months that he's a fit for, Todd can slide back into my DMs and be like, hey bro, it's me again. You actually posted a role that I'm a better fit for. Let's chat, and then I'm gonna remember Todd. If Todd had his resume on his featured section, every recruiter is gonna pass on if it's not a fit. Like, we're not gonna DM you. Because again, we don't have time. Agency recruiters are so spread, actually recruiters in general, agency and internal, we're so spread thin right now, right? So again, you want to start a conversation. Networking over social media is taking micro interactions and basically making them a full-fledged conversation, right? And we're gonna talk about tips and tricks how to do that. Any questions on the features section as I move on? Yes?
So in that interaction about the resume,
Yep.
sometimes common practice to have multiple resumes?
Sure.
For targeting a particular job?
Yep.
Should you ask the person, like if you're reaching out, what are you looking for in the resume?
100%.
Okay.
100%. The thing I want to get across there, though, is that the conversation has been started,
Right.
which is incredibly important in today's world, especially for networking online. That's a great question, though. Next thing, activity. So I've actually never talked about activity before, ever, in any of my talks, and I'm talking about it now, and here's why. It is such an underrated part of a person's LinkedIn profile, because we're going to talk about DM strategy here in a bit, but I want to preface that in your DMs to network with people, you should reference their activity. Hey, Taylor, I saw that you posted about this. That really resonated with me. I would love to talk to you about that. Right? And we're going to get to DM strategy here in a second, and we're going to come back to activity, right? So let's not forget about it, but I want to show you where it is. All right, the about section, listen, LinkedIn has deprioritized it. It keeps getting like shoved down further like in the profile. So the about section, I would put a little bit about yourself and your main skills. That's it. Right? It's just another place to kind of throw in a little bit more of your skill section, but no one's going to make or break a job by not having an about section. All right, how to write a LinkedIn. I am only one recruiter. There are a sea of recruiters if you don't know. You could literally take my entire talk and shop around all my advice, and almost every single recruiter may tell you something different. I'm not the end-all be-all. I'm blessed to be up on stage, but I'm not the end-all be-all. My way is not the highway. There are some people who do it better than me, right? But I'm just telling you what's worked out of the 5,000 plus engineers I've met in my career. So, how to write a LinkedIn. In my opinion, your LinkedIn, this is like if I want to start like a battle on social media for like engagement, I talk about LinkedIn or the resume because people lose their damn minds with that. Your LinkedIn should be a summary of your resume. Let me say that again. Your LinkedIn should be a summary of your resume. If your resume for your most current position has 10 bullet points, this should have 5 bullet points. It's that summarized. Now, here's how I would write your LinkedIn. If you don't know how to write your LinkedIn, I'm going to go over real quick. So if you have a pen and paper, I would highly advise you start writing. First off, first bullet point, and this goes for your resume too. First bullet point, tell me what you are working on like you are describing it to your family. Because let's face it, we all talk to our family differently than we do some in our industry. No, Mom, I don't code. I find somebody who codes. My mom still thinks I fix computers. Right? No, Mom, I don't. I barely know how to turn on one. Right? So for example, I developed a mobile application that allows people to track stray cats in their area. Right? I'm a big cat guy.
In that, is it helpful for the frequency? Maybe one came up that you looked at it, it has like .NET more frequently, or
I have no idea.
You write the technology in that bullet.
So you beat me to it. You beat me to it.
Exactly.
You and Pato, man. Damn. All right. So that's the first bullet point. Second and third bullet point is using the main technology that you're writing with and what problem is it trying to solve. So we're using React. I learned about React Query the other day. I don't know what that is, but I learned about it. Right? React Query. We're leveraging React Query because it's faster and I'm taking the load time down from 9 milliseconds to 1 millisecond. Technology, problem, why you're using it. Right? That's the second and third bullet point. That's what it should be. The last bullet point, which my man brought up just now, is the entire list of technologies and tools that you have used. The biggest pushback I get is, Taylor, you're telling me just to put my main tech I've used. Why in the world are you getting me to put all of the tools and technologies I've used? Because here's why. Let me give you an example. Sometimes as a recruiter, when we meet with the hiring manager, we go, Mr. Manager, Mrs. Manager, what are the nice to haves and what are the must haves? What recruiters then go do is, well, we want to impress the hiring manager, so you know what we search on? We search on the nice to haves first and the must haves. Right? Like they really, like the nice to have would be AWS Lambda, but they need to have bare minimum Node. So what are we searching for? Node and AWS Lambda. Now, let's say you're a JavaScript engineer and you are in a project and you have touched AWS Lambda, but it's not one of your main top 2 or 3 skills that you have worked with. So what are you going to do? If you don't put that in your technologies used, I don't find you. But if you touched it in a project and you put it on your technologies used portion and you come across my search, I'm going to slide into your DMs. That's why it's so important to put everything, right? Another example, let's say I'm looking for a React UI developer, but the company needs this React UI developer to have Figma experience because they got to work with the design team. So what are we searching? React and Figma. If you do not have Figma in your technologies used portion, I may miss you. Does all that make sense? Nod your head. Cool. Any questions? No. If you're a junior dev, how many junior devs in here? Got 1, 2. Are you like questioning if you're a junior dev? All right, you got 2, All right, so with junior devs, I would put capstones. If you went to a code school, your code school is the company. Listen, I did a survey. It was crazy. I did a survey on Twitter and LinkedIn, same day, and I said, hey devs, percentage of time, how much are you hands on the keys on a weekly basis? Guess what the answer was? 25%. 25% of the time, devs are only coding. Now, obviously there was 50s, there was a 70, like it varied, don't get me wrong, but the average number I got was 25%. Most boot campers code way more than that. So put that on your experience. If you did 2 capstone projects at National Software School is your company, and then you put your 2 projects the way I just listed it out. That makes sense? Cool, we're still engaged. I know, listen, this is the last session. Just stay with me. I promise this will level up your career. Any questions on how to write your LinkedIn portion? No, clear as mud, great. All right, moving on. Education, whatever, skills, blah, not a big deal. All right, no, wait a minute, now, what did I say? Recommendations, skills, education. Recommendations. Let me talk about recommendations. It's incredibly important. This is where marketing comes back into play. I don't know about you, but when my wife and I travel and we look at restaurants, where do we go? We go to Instagram because social media dictates our conversations daily, which is why social media is so important. We're going to talk about it in a second, really how to use it. And then what do we else do? We go to Google reviews. And what do we look at? We look at the reviews, the recommendations. How many stars do they have? How many people rated it? What were the reviews? Right? Same thing. If I'm evaluating two people to possibly slide into their DMs, one person's got 5 recommendations, the other person has 0 recommendations. Naturally, who do you think I'm going to DM? This isn't a trick question. Somebody answer, please. Don't say both. You're being annoying. The 5. Now, the both, I understand that, right? At the end of the day, yes, I'm probably going to message both. However, again, it's curb appeal, right? My brother just painted his house white, right? Why? Because everybody in Nashville wants a white house. Everybody, right? It's curb appeal. Same thing, this is curb appeal. Listen, I could be the trashiest human being, but I was like, man, Taylor's got 22 recommendations, right? Wow, must be nice, right? But I'm, again, it's all perception. And again, this talk is for you to stand out in the job search. So I want to give you all the tips, all the tricks. Now, if you're a junior dev, one of the questions is, hey, I've never coded before in a professional setting. How can I get a reference? My podcast, shameless self-plug, Guidance Counselor 2.0. I talk to a lot of hiring managers across the country, from Netflix all the way down to startups. All of them say the same thing. Hiring managers, they just want to see junior devs that can communicate properly, work well with others, and basically not have their hand held. Any of those recommendations can be put on by a non-technical hiring manager. Any questions on the recommendations portion? No? All right, cool. So we're going to dive into, actually I use LinkedIn. I got 30 minutes. So we're going to dive into LinkedIn. We may touch Twitter. If you want to connect with me, I don't have any of the socials on my stuff. It's Desseyn, or just connect me on LinkedIn. I would love to connect with you as well. All right, so there's 3 ways to use social media to find your dream job. This is actually the punchline of my conversation or my presentation that comes halfway through it. There's 3 ways. 1, content, posting, documenting. We're going to talk about that. Now you're probably like, shit, I didn't sign up to come to learn to be a content creator. You're not. I'm just going to give you tips. Second part, liking and commenting on people's posts. If you get one thing out of this conversation today, networking is literally just liking and commenting people's posts. That's it. Like, you guys can technically leave now if you want. Don't leave. Please don't leave. Right? That's it. It's just liking and commenting on people's posts, because what happens is we have glorified, we have romanticized the in-person. Now, I'm not saying you can be a hermit in your house and never meet somebody. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that we as a society, or especially in business, especially recruiters, we're like, you got to go to meetups, you got to go to conferences, you got to put yourself out there, you got to buy people lunch. Right? And I'm like, yeah, but I got to drive and I got to meet people. I'm just kidding. I'm a big introvert again, right? I got to do all this stuff. It's really inconvenient. There's a balance. But at the end of the day, I've built so many relationships online. For example, Todd. I've never met Todd. Never met Todd, ever. But I feel like I know Todd because I've interacted with him so much. Todd tweets a lot about the Northeast and Maine and lobster rolls. Literally, when I met Todd, I was like, bro, I want a lobster roll because of you. And I've never met Todd in my entire life, and I consider him a friend. Todd may not consider me a friend, but I consider Todd a friend. Do you consider me a friend? All right, sweet, cool. So that being said, need affirmation. That's my love language. So that all being said, but that's the importance of it, right? Pato and I, we've met one other time at Atlanta Code Camp, but otherwise it's Twitter. It's just Twitter, right? It's just liking and commenting on people's status. I've met so many amazing engineers on LinkedIn because they just comment on my shit. Right? And we're going to go into that about how to transition a comment into a DM, because really, again, if we're doing marketing terms here, right? Posting content is top of the funnel, right? What people see. Then it's liking and commenting is middle of the funnel, and then the conversion is the DMs, right? The job offers, the raises, the salaries, the connections is in the DMs, right? Man, I'm not that boring. You yawning. Damn, I gotta get some more energy going here, right? So those are 3 ways to use social media. Again, if you get anything out of this talk, the 3 ways to use social media are posting content, documenting your job search journey, 2, liking and commenting on people's statuses, and 3, the DMs, right? So let's break down actually posting. We as human beings are so comfortable posting about our nice dinner on Instagram, our weekend with the boys or the girls. We're so comfortable posting, even for me, my daughter's 2nd birthday was this past weekend, right? We're so comfortable posting all these things, but when it comes to our professional lives, we don't post anything. And listen, I love a good 2-year-old baby picture, right? My daughter's beautiful. She didn't get my forehead, thank God, right? I love it. But at the end of the day, why aren't we comfortable posting our professional lives? Why aren't we comfortable posting about accomplishments, difficulties, failures? I know so many developers that have posted they've bombed interviews, and I'm not shitting you, they've gotten a job because of it. Because it shows vulnerability, it shows openness, awareness, what they're trying to do to get better. Especially junior devs. I've had a few junior devs literally land jobs on LinkedIn because they said that they bombed an interview and they wish they had another chance, right? So I want you to get comfortable posting. Now, again, what I would do if I were y'all, and you don't have to do it with me, but you're in my talk, so I'm going to use it as an example. I would get out of this conversation and say, man, I went to Taylor's talk, tag me, and I'll tell you why that's important in a second. I learned so much about how to leverage social media to find a dream job. I didn't even know half the stuff he said about LinkedIn. What's everybody's favorite LinkedIn, feature, right? The reason why it's so important to post that and tag me is because then all 15,000 of my followers see your post. All my 15,000 followers are both software devs, senior devs, and engineering leads, and CTOs, right? Again, we push people, hiring managers, we push people to go to conferences. All right, push people to go to meetups, meet people. You can literally meet people in the comfort of your own home and make amazing, long-lasting relationships because of it. I literally put together a meetup in Atlanta. I have not met any of those people in person. When I was at Render last month, I had 10 people show up on a Saturday morning. Never met those people. Right? Because what happens is you start building community. Because when you start posting about something, like Todd posting about lobster rolls, right? People are like, yeah, I fuck with lobster rolls. Right? They start following Todd. Right? And Todd knows the lobster roll guy. I did not know I was going to talk about Todd this much in this presentation. Right? But again, I want to prove a point. I don't know what else y'all like because none of y'all are posting. I could, if all of y'all posted your favorite food, I'm not saying go on and start a food blog, right? You could post just about React. There's one guy, Josh, I forgot his last name, he's in Raleigh. All he does is post about Azure. He's just like an Azure fanatic, right? There's a lot of people that post about streaming services, right? There's a lot of people that post about Node APIs. I don't know, I just made that up, right? Node, right? Different types of databases. Be known for something. Does anyone in here have a passion within tech? Raise their hand and tell me what it is. Aside from Todd, because I've used you too much. Aside from Pato, because he talks. Man in the back, yeah.
Clean code?
Clean code. Yeah.
That was my talk this week.
Was it?
Yeah.
Did you crush it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, but so all right. So what about clean code? Like, what makes good clean code?
Code is the basis of the presentation is that code is a programming language, and people always think of it as science and math, but really it should read like a book. If you flip open a book to page 48,
yeah,
you may not know what the book is about, but you could read a couple sentences and get the idea of where you're at. It should be the same way if you look at anybody's code on Earth. You should just be able to open up a page, read it.
I love it.
And understand it.
I love it. Are you on Twitter or LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn.
All right, everybody go connect with.
I'm one of those people that doesn't post anything.
All right, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. Everything.
I should go post.
You should literally just post what you just said.
Exactly.
That's it. Because here's the deal. If you're not, it took you to come to a conference to share what you know to people.
Yeah.
What if I tell you that you could become your own conference speaker online? That's what it is. But instead of speaking to 30 people, you're speaking to 1,000 people.
Right.
That's the power of it. Then what happens is content makes you find your tribe. So then everyone who's really fucking passionate about clean code is going to find you, right? Which is probably a good thing because most managers and people love clean code. And so then what's going to happen is you're going to start getting people like, hey, you want to come work for me? You want to come work for me? We need consultant to see how good our code is. I just made that up, right? So again, it's important, right? All right, the next thing I want to talk about is liking and commenting on people's statuses. Let me find an example. All right, perfect. This was quick. This is always a little dicey because I got to try to find it. All right, so this right here. I'm not supposed to stand in front of the screen. Brandon, Riley, Brandon. Which name do you see more right there? This isn't a trick question.
Brandon.
Right. But Riley did the post. Brandon didn't have to post anything. Brandon commented and liked it. And now he has more visibility than Riley. The job search is about top of mind, right? Being a recruiter, we're like a doctor. You're only going to come to us when something's hurting or you're sick, right? So it's brand awareness, right? Same thing with hiring managers. Honestly, who in here is a hiring manager right now? Raise your hand. Right? 1, 2, 2. Right? Who has leadership responsibilities in the organization right now? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. Recruiting or posting content, engaging in content is the biggest recruiting tool. You want to know why? I'm going to give you a quick number for you. I brought in 400 resumes last year off the back of content. 400. And I don't just do content. I actually run a business. I run a team. Now, I'm very fortunate. I have a content agency that helps me, so I understand. But I started taking my phone during COVID, setting it here, sitting here, and going, hey, LinkedIn, would love to talk to you about this. You go to Amazon, you buy one of those things, it's $20, it comes with a clicker. You go to your phone, you edit it on your phone, and you post it to LinkedIn. You know how long it took me to do that? 3 minutes. Because then what happens is, as a leader in an organization or a hiring manager, you start to attract the talent that you actually want. Because as a recruiter like myself, people resonate with my message, people resonate with my energy, and those are usually the type of candidates that do well. They are attracted to positivity. They want something different. They want something better for them and their families. Those are the type of people I attract, which usually are more engaged. Right? So content, I've had a lot of hiring managers hit me up from large organizations to talk about content strategy because it is such a huge internal recruiting tool. I mean, even Pato, right? Job search journey recently, right? He posted on Twitter. I mean, talk about the turnaround time real quick for you.
Basically, I posted last Friday, well, like a week ago, hey, I'm looking for a new job, and I got like 50 messages from just different companies, and I didn't really have a job offer.
Now, you're probably like, well, Taylor, I follow Pato's Twitter. He's got a lot of followers. You have a lot of followers. I get that, but the thing is we started from zero, and we just engaged. I know people with 100 followers on LinkedIn that landed jobs because of posts, right? The way LinkedIn works is you see here, if you like one of my statuses, all of my followers see you. So it can be the equivalent of going up to somebody at a conference and be like, hey bro, what's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel, nice to meet you, man. That's a like on Instagram, right? Then it's like, hey Daniel, what do you do, man?
Oh, for real?
Yeah, for real. This is like role play. Yeah, Daniel, what do you do?
Architect.
Nice. What does that mean? Like for what company? What do you like what tech? What do you do?
For Cura.
For Cura? Cool. Sweet.
Love tech.
Sweet. Awesome. That's a comment. You see? Shake hands, like. Dialogue, comment. And then you stay consistent. If I commented consistently on thoughts that you have around architecture and principles, you would probably like start to be like, well, he knows his shit. So if I slide into your DMs and be like, hey bro, I got a question about this, you're probably gonna take it. Because I've been engaged with you, I'm not some stranger, which is what I wanna talk about, is that this is the long game. I wanna get you out of easy applying. Stop easy applying. Stop it. Stop it. I tweeted this the other day. I said, we are taught completely wrong, and somebody tweeted back at me and he goes, you're wrong. We're not, he goes, Twitter's great. He goes, we're not taught at all. Right, so I'm teaching you now. This right here is the long game, exactly. And that's why at the end of this conversation, I want everyone to connect with everybody on LinkedIn. Literally, I don't want you all to leave until you try to connect with as many people in this room as possible. Because what happens is this is a community, and we're gonna get into this here. I got 15 minutes, I got so much to talk about, I'm so amped up. I'm so passionate about this topic because it's absolutely transformed my career, and I want it to do the same with yours. Is that this right here, this is special. Because what happens is that if we all share each other's information and we start to develop this community, what happens is that we all start feeding off each other, right? A job opportunity may come from the back from one hiring manager, and somebody in here could be an absolute perfect fit, but you would not have known about that position if you did not connect with that person. Does that make sense? And so if you can really take it upon yourself to literally right here connect with people before they leave, I promise you it's going to level up your career. The last part of leveraging social media to find your dream job is the DM game. Now, gentlemen, our DM games are pretty bad when it comes to dating and social and Tinder and Bumble and things. I was one of them, and so I want to help you. So let me show you how to construct a good DM, which will also get you a job. So first off, admiration and flattery, right? If you're on Tinder and you see a girl who loves hiking, you're probably gonna say, hey girl, so you love hiking. I love hiking too. I hate hiking, I hate the outdoors. I just love the beach, right? That admiration and flattery. So if you've already zoned out, please come back to me, write this down. I took this strategy for my podcast, and my response rate went over 50%. The average recruiter rate, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is like 20% on LinkedIn Recruiter or something like that. I think 15, 20% is low. I took this strategy to get people on my podcast. And by the way, if you are a job seeker and you went through a recent job search, I would love to interview you on my podcast, so come find me afterwards. That being said, my response rate skyrocketed to 50%, right? So admiration, flattery. Remember I talked about activity? That's admiration, flattery. So what I would do, you gotta remember, LinkedIn is the only platform where you can go on right now and message any hiring manager at your dream company you've always wanted to work for and potentially strike up a conversation today. That's how powerful it is. There was one gentleman in Nashville, he worked at Evernote, and his dream company was Netflix. And so what he did is he took it upon himself every day for 15 minutes to message a hiring manager that basically like aligned with like what he did at Evernote. It's like, I don't know, tech things and whatever. So like he messaged a hiring manager like, hey, I do this at Evernote. I want to pick your brain. right? And he actually, and 10 conversations later, he got a job at Netflix by doing this strategy, right? Notice what they do, right? Scroll down to interest. If you message me, not Spanx, I don't really follow Spanx, but like Gary, I don't know why I'm following Sarah, but if anyone knows Sarah, great. But like Gary Vaynerchuk, if you message me about Gary Vaynerchuk, I'm going to respond to you 10 out of 10 times, right? Leverage the interest part, and if you go to their interest and you have nothing in common, go to their activity, right? Incredibly important. Pato, what's up?
So something that I have noticed and probably recruiters have noticed as well is as soon as I see like a hi, I'm like, fuck the guy.
Yeah.
So what will be the first 2 words that I should tell someone to me?
I always say, hey, ma'am. If it's a female, I usually like, hey, exclamation mark, like, hey, right? Yeah, don't say hi. I always say hi, but the thing is, if you do say hi, immediately follow it up with, and we're going to talk about where to send the note and how to send it real quick. But again, try not to be staged. But I will tell you, most people in here aren't recruiters, and so for the most part, it's usually like they don't come across as recruitery. That's more for recruiters.
So you wouldn't put their name for some hi Taylor.
Sure, yeah, that's fine too. Yeah, do that.
Just like sometimes I have felt that it was spammy.
Template-y, yeah, because we as recruiters do templates. I'm going to be honest with you, I did a template when I recruited. I mean, I still do, but like I do content. But when I used to recruit traditionally, I actually I created a templated message, but I made it specific to that person. Right, so there was customization to that template every single time I sent the email. So that's important. So admiration, flattery. Hold on, I'm trying to get through this. Second thing, a specific question. Right, hey Pato, saw you on Twitter. You're awesome. I love your name. It means duck. Right? And also, by the way, Pato said that in his presentation. If I've mentioned that to him, immediately he knows I've been paying attention to him. Admiration, flattery. I would love to talk with you about whatever you do, right? For 6 minutes. And here's why I said 6 minutes, not 5 minutes. I don't know about you, when my mom texts me, do you have 5 minutes? How long is that talk usually? Amen.
5 hours.
Yeah, an hour, tops, or easy, minimum, right? Talk to my mom today on the beach, an hour, right? I love you, Mom. So, incredibly important. List a specific amount of time, 7 minutes, 9 minutes, 11 minutes, right? Because what that does is it shows intentionality. So many people walk through the job search and they just are just, can I talk to you for 5 minutes? And they don't ask a specific question or they don't do anything, right? The lack of intentionality in the job search is incredibly poor, right? Be intentional. Hey, Pato, love what you do. Can I have 6 minutes of your time to talk about this? So Pato knows it's not going to be a long conversation. This guy's already made a comment about my name meaning duck. That means he pays attention. He seems pretty chill in his DMs. I'm going to talk to him, hopefully, right? And maybe not. I said 50%. He may move on. And that's okay. You keep going, right? Also, another thing too, I would, if you are in the job search, I would always start with your community first. Always start with community first. My dad, I use the story all the time. I tell the story all the time. My dad, 55 years old at the time. My dad's is like your typical boomer dad, like awful at tech, like. He's like an angry texter, you know what I'm talking about? Like dads, anybody dads out there that just like, it seems like they're just angry all the time when they text? That's my dad. Barely knows how to, barely, say what? Yeah, I know, well, yeah, we won't get into that. So like text, whatever. And so my dad quit his job of 25 years. My dad is in the restaurant industry. So he calls me like the day after and he goes, what do I do? And I go, what do you mean? Do what? He goes, how do I find a job? Taylor, the last time I was on the job search, the internet did not exist. And I was like, whoa. I said, give me a second. I said, I need to think about this. Because I needed to dumb down my job to my father, who is computer illiterate when I live on the internet. So I took the night, I talked to my wife, I was like, how do I dumb this down? Like I use Twitter and LinkedIn and like all this stuff, and I gotta like dumb it down for my dad. So I called my dad the next day, I said, all right, I got it, you ready? He goes, yeah, lay it on me. I go, 1. He goes, what does that mean? I said, one conversation a day with a stranger or somebody in your network you haven't talked to in a while. One conversation a day, that's it. My dad, over the next 3 months, called me a lot of times. Man, I had a great lunch, great lead. Yeah? Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Didn't go anywhere. Taylor, had a great coffee. Yeah? Didn't go anywhere. 3 months later, my dad calls me up and says, guess what? I said, what? He was like, I got a job. I said, you are shitting me. I go, how'd you find it? He goes, I messaged one of my coworkers 15 years ago on LinkedIn like you told me to, and literally they have a restaurant in Colombia that they need a manager for. My dad's been there for 7 years now. Not your Colombia. South Carolina. So again, I tell that story because if my 55-year-old dad at the time can do it, in the restaurant industry on LinkedIn, none of y'all have an excuse. No one. Let me give you another example. I did a one-on-one session with an individual from Mississippi. I had two gentlemen refer this individual because this individual was down on his luck. Hasn't had a job in a year, moved in with his family, literally told me he had $5 in his bank account. When I did my first call with him, he was very like his just body posture, it was just, everything was hunched over. He couldn't communicate to me. I asked him about his story, very murmured, jarbled. And I said, man, what is your networking? And I'm in my head, I'm like, this is not gonna be good. I said, what does your networking strategy look like? He was like, I don't really have one. I was like, how many people are you talking to in a day? He goes, in a day? I go, yeah. He goes, well, man, I do maybe one a week. I was like, well, that's gotta change. So basically I went over, I was like, listen, one a day. So I was like, all right, listen, do it for a week, come talk to me the next week. He said, great. Next week, have a phone call. It was interesting. His body posture perked up a little bit. Started communicating a little bit better with me. I could tell that he had been practicing this story because he was talking to people now, right? Still a little jarbled, still kind of hard to understand, still a little hunched over, but way better. And I was like, all right, listen, we're getting somewhere. I said, how many people have you met? He goes, I took it. He goes, man, I've been meeting 2 or 3 people a day. It's crazy. I said, that's awesome. I said, let's do it again. Meet next week. For the record, I did not make any money off this guy. This was complete pro bono, and this is probably one of my greatest success stories in my entire career. 3rd week, we do the call. He's smiling. I said, what's up, man? He goes, you won't believe this, I got a job. And I said, you're kidding me. He goes, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. He was just like, I literally did what you talked about. He goes, I just had conversations. I just DM people, one a day. And he goes, literally, I connected with somebody. He talked to me about my background. I had another call, and they offered me the spot. This guy has been without a job for a year, lived at home, $5 in his bank account, and took this strategy that I'm telling you in this room right here and landed a job. Now, some people take 3 months to do it. My dad took 3 months. I know some devs that are doing this strategy, and they're still in the job search in 6 months. So I don't want to set this unrealistic expectation where you're going to do this and you're going to find a job in 3 weeks. Because it just depends. Because a job search is all about timing and being top of mind. 2 final things as we wrap up here. Then I want to open it for questions. I know the last presentation is at 4:30. This is incredibly important talk. If we need to go a little over, we can with questions. Because if you have a question, other people have questions. But I also know it's the last conversation of the day. 2 things. 1, always send a note on LinkedIn when you connect with people. Right? So let me go to somebody I don't know. Hold on. This is where kind of this would be nice. All right, so I'm just gonna search .NET developer. All right. Hamaja. All right. Add a note. You see what I just did there? Everybody see that? How I did that? Add a note. This is where you do the DM strategy. Hey, saw your profile. I love what you do. I've always wanted to work at that company. That company's always super active in the community. I would love to be a part of it. I see you presented at Code on the Beach. Would love to talk to you. I was there too. Right? Then, 6 minutes, the one question. Send. Here's why it's so important. When you message somebody on LinkedIn, it goes to the top of their inbox. Right here. It goes to the top of their inbox. and it's bolded. So I literally have to click, I wonder if somebody connected with me here. So if any of y'all or these people in here, you didn't send me a note, which is okay, I hadn't talked about it yet, right? So let's say, Orion, I accepted your profile, you just go away. You just disappear. You just disappear. When you send me a note, and I accept it, you immediately go, can someone connect with me real quick that hasn't connected with me and send me a note? Just so I can like do it real time, right? While someone's doing that, let me go over the final example I want to talk to you about. We can open up for questions. Always ask for another introduction. Even me as a recruiter always missed out on this opportunity. The referral is where you really start making connections. So what I would do is I would message somebody after you vibe with them. Be like, hey bro, hey girl, it's great chatting with you. Do you have anybody else in your network I should get connected to? Yeah, actually, you should talk to my hiring manager, Betsy. She's awesome. Email connection to Betsy. Now you're talking with an HR manager or a manager, and guess what you just got? You got yourself an interview. Always send a note, always ask for a referral, and then always leverage social media to find your dream job. So thank you for coming out today. That was it. Any questions as we wrap up here? If you don't have any questions, I don't want you to leave this room until you connect with as many people as possible. Does anybody have any questions as we wrap up here? Okay. Yeah.
She did connect.
Yeah. So real quick, I wish I could share. So if you're on your phone, connecting with somebody, you do the 3 dots, and then.
It didn't prompt me to send. It just said 3 as a.
That's weird.
Yeah.
I think you're considered a social influencer, so you have to have created in order to message you without getting connected.
No, there's a way to do it. That's weird. It says pending. Oh, did you press following?
No.
She pressed.
All right, hold on.
Is it available on the mobile app? I think.
It is. Hold on real quick. Here, all right, here we go. Man, I thought it was. That is weird. All right.
Can you like reject me real quick?
Yeah, I just did. So like so there's that.
Yeah.
So message, like you should be, there is a way to do it on mobile. For some reason, I can't figure it out right now. Hit me up afterwards, connect with me here on LinkedIn, just slide in my DMs. There, personalized invite. Yeah, that's it. She doesn't have that option, which is weird. I wonder if your LinkedIn's not updated yet.
Well, I'm doing it on Android. It's up there. Let's try adding Thomas like he was banging.
All right, so connect with me after this, and then I'll try to figure that out for y'all. Who else has a question? There's another hand raised back here. Yeah.
This is like one of those doctor things, you don't need it until your foot's broke. But
Correct.
like when your foot's not broke, you're getting hundreds of messages. My strategy is just not to respond, because give someone false hope. Is that the best strategy?
So you talking about if a recruiter?
Automated messages to be recruited.
Yeah. So 2 things. I love this strategy. Put an emoji in front of your name, because if it is a bot or spam, it will basically include your emoji in the message. So that's one hack. So put your favorite emoji in your first name. The second hack is if you go to vaco.com/Taylor, I have 10 questions to stump a recruiter. I created questions that we ask at Vaco to our hiring managers. And what I did is I created a 10 question list for you to save as an email template, a LinkedIn, and just say, hey, thanks for your DM. Can you answer these questions for me before we move forward? Flip it on a recruiter. Yeah.
Where can we get this?
Vaco.com/Taylor. Free guides. I also have my resume template, this same talk in a 30-minute form, and a bunch of other free guides to help you in your job search.
Does it matter what industry that those 10 questions are for?
No, it should work across the board. It should work across the board. Yep. Anything else? If you have a question, somebody else has a question. Yeah, Paul?
It's not really a question, but it's more of, I didn't find this recently, but if you're on LinkedIn and you want to share your QR code,
Yes.
to connect, all you have to do is on iOS and go to the search bar and there's an icon to the far right of the search bar to open that up, so you can not only scan
One of
from
those
that
templates.
view, you can also share yours.
Yeah.
It's an easier way than type your name. I didn't know about, like, it used to be there, and they've hidden it now in the search bar.
Yeah. Any more questions? Sweet. I'm gonna do a picture real quick. Y'all do something funny. Y'all do something funny. Wave your hands or something. And beautiful. Sweet. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Connect with as many people as possible. Literally, open up your phone now. Go to your LinkedIn. Go to the search. Hit the QR code and just start scanning the shit out of everybody's LinkedIn. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.